What's up, entrepreneurs, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello. Today's topic is pitching an idea or startup. What key points do you need to hit? Pitching your startup idea takes a bit of practice. You'll have to tailor your pitch differently depending on who is in your audience. Are you pitching to investors or potential customers? Obviously, the conversation will be completely different between the two groups of people. I'm going to run through several steps that John Real, CEO and co-founder at Station Houston, taught me at a recent How to Pitch seminar. Station is a co-working space and a hub for technological innovation in Houston, and it's a great resource. There are a lot of awesome mentors over there that I've been there several times. I've mentioned before that growing your network and connecting with like-minded individuals is very important. I strongly suggest that you try to find a place near you that can provide that type of environment. Step 1 is the hook. I always thought that step 1 was introducing yourself and saying, "Hi, my name is Chris Bello from Flexthetics," or whatever, but when I did a practice over here, that was actually feedback that I got that you should not start like that. And why is that, you might ask? Think of when you introduce yourself to somebody and you say, "Hey, my name's Chris," and they say, "Hey, my name's John," or whatever. Chances are both of you forgot each other's names, and you're going to have to try 2 or 3 times of meeting each other before you really remember their name. So he really recommended impressing people, making an image last in their head, and then introducing yourself, because they're way more likely to remember your name. So step 1 is the hook. The hook is your chance to get somebody's attention. You want them to be curious and listen to what you have to say next. You might state your name or company name. It seems like a logical starting point, but you're missing out on an opportunity to lead with an impact. So you want to make sure you try to paint a picture for your audience and activate their imagination. And you can ask questions or state facts that spark involvement and interest, and even see if you can get anyone to raise any hands and say, "Hey, how many of you have dealt with this problem?" Hands in the audience go up, and then that helps prove your point when you go to your next step, which is step 2, the problem. The biggest question that startups have to answer is, are you solving a problem that matters? Why are you doing what you're doing? And why are you the best person to be doing it? So when you're describing the problem, make sure to back up your statements with enough data and studies that actually support your solution. I've seen some problems that aren't real problems, and the founders don't really have any numbers behind it, so it doesn't help their point. Make sure to use hard numbers, because this really demonstrates potential impact, and it also helps if you incorporate unique personal experiences that highlight your expertise. Step 3 is the intro. So make it simple, easy, and clear. Now isn't the time to go into your life story or super in-depth about your team. The reason for leading with the hook and the problem is because after you've offered or demonstrated value, your audience will be engaged. After that point, they're more likely to recall your name and your company. Once you're at this point, just keep it very simple. Give them your name, title, company. It may be a concise mission statement, and that's all you really need for a strong introduction. Step 4 is the solution. When speaking about your solution, focus on the benefits instead of just how it works. The elevator pitch isn't the best time to go and dig into the technical aspects of your solution. It's an opportunity to concisely and effectively communicate the value of your product. So when you're describing your solution, make sure to focus on the benefits and the outcomes. Good examples of what you should be saying are, "My solution reduces X by X," or "increases productivity of Y over Y." You want to make it measurable. Step 5 is the competition. There is no such thing as having no competition. Even if you're creating an entirely new category, someone out there is solving the same problem in a different way. So you need to acknowledge that you have existing competition, and it shows that you have a deep understanding of the problem and your customer. If your customer isn't buying something today to relieve the pain point you're working to solve, then your solution may not be very valuable. When reviewing the competitive landscape, emphasize how your solution is both different as well as better. Step 6, talk about the business. Talk about your traction, your business, your customers. Do you know how you're going to make money? If not, talk about what you're figuring out and what you're doing to get to that point. Even if you don't have your business model, financials, or forecasts fully fleshed out, You can discuss what steps you're currently taking to get there. What are you doing to push on to better understand your target market? How are you testing different revenue models? What is your next major business milestone? And what are you doing to get there? These are all the questions that you need to be asking yourself. Step 7 is the ask. Every pitch has to have an ask. If you're not raising money, there are other things you can ask for. Mentorship, feedback, services, expertise, a pilot, criticism, whatever will help you get to the next step. A strong understanding of your business needs will help you tailor your ask for different audiences. If you're at a demo day where you're just running through your pitch, your ask may revolve around talent. Whatever the ask may be, it's important to communicate the why behind your request. For example, I'm looking for a front-end developer so that I can build out an MVP to launch a seed round. The last step is step 8, the stamp. This is where you really want to just hit that home run and seal the deal, finish the pitch strong. This is where you go back to your hook and you make sure to tie it all together. Bring it back, tighten the story, and then stick the landing. So with these steps, you should be able to develop a pretty good narrative for your pitch, and the stamp really concludes your story. Were you able to share a personal experience or an interesting data point, or maybe even ask a question during the hook? Close out your pitch in a neat and clear way by referring back to these points, and then invite people to join you in reaching your mission. Lastly, end by thanking your audience for their time and attention. Key takeaways from this episode: refine your pitch and really take the time to understand the problem and the solution in and out. When you highlight the pain points of the problem and make the audience truly imagine and understand the pain, they'll be able to better understand your solution, and you'll find them saying things like, "Oh, that's a really good idea. I hate that problem. I always deal with that." And you'll know to focus on those things. Practice pitching over and over. Apply to pitch at a startup demo day in your local co-working space, or even at events like Pitch a Kid or Maker Faire that may be near you. Consider joining a group such as Toastmasters to refine your ability to speak in public with clear, concise communication. You want to try to avoid uhs and ahs because this really distracts the audience from your message. Whenever I'm hearing somebody speaking and they say 5 times in the same sentence, I just start doing tally marks on my paper of how many times they start saying instead of taking away anything of value. You'll find that every time you ask for feedback, you're going to hear different things. You really can't take advice from everybody, or you're just going to find yourself running in circles. You're going to change one thing on a pitch, and then someone's going to say, "Oh, you should talk about this." And you're going to tell them, "Well, I just took it out because the last person said they didn't want to hear it." So I suggest you write down the feedback and then apply anything that you think is relevant. Bounce that feedback off a couple other people just so you don't end up being biased, and you can make sure you've had enough people consider it. You don't want to end up opposing any suggestions just because of your own bias. Daily motivation. At the end of the day, it's you versus you. Whether you're pitching to a small room of 4 friends or a huge audience with thousands of strangers, you're the only person that has the power to hold yourself back or get up there and give a great presentation. Actionable steps. If you have not already, create a pitch deck and practice with friends, family members, or colleagues. Define the problem and really make sure to drive it home. Only after you can comfortably do this will you be able to deliver that perfect pitch. With that, I'm signing off for today. Feel free to contact me with any comments or questions at chrisbello.com. And remember, less dreaming, more doing.